Hello and welcome to Luxury Presence Panels. My name is Aaron Grusho and I'm on the marketing team at Luxury Presence. I'm going to be your host today as we dive into a super critical topic, becoming the face of your market. We're going to explore how the most successful agents in the country really stopped competing on commission and started competing on presence. And I can't think of two more authoritative voices on the subject in two very different markets than Frances Katzen and Cindy Rainey, who join us as guests today. Frances is one of the most recognized names in New York City luxury real estate. She's the founder of the Katzen Team at Douglas Elliman, and she's built a brand that really commands attention across press, media, and a global client network. Cindy leads the #1 medium-sized real estate team in Connecticut, consistently ranked within the top 25 nationally, with a presence in Fairfield County, so dominant that she's really become the name people think of first. We're super excited to have them. But before we dive in, quick reminder, stay engaged. We want to see you use the chat, especially at the end of the session, where we'll get into some Q&A. Frances and Cindy, welcome to the show.
Nice to
Thank
be
you
here.
for
Thank you
having
for
us.
having me.
We're super excited to have you guys. I think we should dive in with a really important question. Now, most agents think visibility means just posting on Instagram, posting on Facebook, but you've both built something much bigger than that. What was the move that actually changed your trajectory in the business? Frances, maybe we'll start with you.
I think it's when you get a very reputable editorial or media outlet to sort of take you as someone who's speaking as an authority. I think that's the moment when it changes from placement to having a voice. And I think that sort of elevates your ability to distinguish yourself among your competitors. So when you're pitching for business, you have a little bit more weight behind you. I think it's really hard when you're starting out to legitimize yourself or what distinguishes you. Everybody's saying the same thing. So I think it's the moment when you're sitting on Bloomberg across from a very big client that's known for, whether it's Apple and they're doing a deal and you're sitting there talking with someone and you're like, is this really happening? And that's the moment for me where I was like, whoa, that's a pinch me moment.
Amazing. Cindy, how about you? Can you kind of narrow in on one move that really changed your trajectory in the business?
I think, over time, it's just being really consistent and authentic. But I think what changed for us is when we hired a true social media company to really help us make sure we're standing out on each platform appropriately. And within the last 2 years is when we're just getting inbound phone calls and DMs daily. And I think that was the big turning point for us.
Amazing. When we discussed this panel earlier, Cindy, we talked about how when you were showing up on Google, you were clearly named the real estate agent for Fairfield County, and your team didn't even fully know that. What does that tell us about how SEO works when you do it correctly?
I mean, we put a whole lot of time into SEO. We have a luxury presence website. We've had it forever. And I know you guys do so much behind the scenes. But I mean, we really want to be the first name that people see when they're searching. And you just have to, put the time in and spend the money to make sure you're doing it the right way. It takes investment, but you've got to do that. And we're really proud of it.
Amazing. And Frances, you've been known to talk a lot about performance-based PR fees. Can you explain how exactly that works and what made you approach it that way?
I think actions speak louder than words. And I think we live in a business where everyone's promising the moon, sun, and stars. So I always under-promise and try to over-deliver. And are you talking about getting pushed forward in press, meaning TV, or are you talking about just editorial?
Across the board, whatever you feel works best for you and is most critical towards your business.
I think you have to tell the story. There's a narrative. For example, I think to get from here to there, you have to talk about your successes in a way that's meaningful. And what I mean by that is when we have a new property, we send it to the building. But when we sell the property, we tell the narrative. So people are tracking who own how fast it took to sell, where you traded it, how you show off the property, the money that you're spending to get that property seen. And that's a very powerful way to distinguish yourself because it says, I spend money to make money. I'm here to tackle and advertise in a productive way, and I show the result. And I think when you start building that, you have more credibility. And through that, you're able to speak as an informed opinion about the market. And I think it sort of builds on itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you discussed a instance on Instagram where a singular post on a celebrity listing got something like 185,000 views versus what you're seeing on Zillow, maybe the property's only getting a few thousand. How do you think about where you kind of put your energy given that kind of data in today's market?
Is that for you, Francis?
No, no, I think it's
Okay. Yeah. Well, we are incredibly proud that our Instagram is getting like multiples of what you'd find on Zillow. I mean, it's really just amazing. Um, it's fantastic. I mean, we are definitely, to piggyback on what Francis was just saying, it's all in the storytelling of what we're doing. So if we're showcasing our listings, we're telling the story, the lifestyle of why you'd want to live in this home. And I mean, we sold this beautiful estate to a local celebrity, and it really was through Instagram. And we're also getting people coming from like we have this great listing, $5 million listing. We had someone who saw the video that we did from Florida. They came up to view the house. They didn't buy that house, but they bought a different $5.5 million house that weekend. It's just it's working. It's just the consistency and being authentic, and just showing more than just our houses. We're showing, lifestyle, what it feels like to be here.
Yeah,
Remember, it's a
absolutely.
free forum, and I think that's where younger and more sort of up and coming agents can really platform if they can hit it right. And that's why you're seeing these very effective, very creative ways to distinguish it. But I think it goes in partnership with actual stats too. But yeah.
And for somebody starting out, you might feel like you're horrible doing something, but you've got to just get on camera. I mean, if anybody
So
looked
hard.
at my old videos from like 6 years ago, they were so bad. But you just have to start, and then eventually someday you'll be super comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. We always kind of debate the quantity versus quality, but in my opinion, you kind of need the quantity in order to get the quality, right? You really need to put in the reps. And yeah, it's not easy to start out, but I think it's an essential step if you really want to kind of get that visibility. Now, we talked about like marketing your listings on social, but how are you guys presenting yourselves and your personal brands on social, maybe in order to generate leads and contacts from that content? Francis?
Francis, why don't you go ahead?
You go ahead, Cindy. I'll go after.
Uh, okay, so I think that what we've realized, we sort of do a deep dive on what people like the most, and we have found that the videos that I appear in or talk about something, that we get the most views on that. But we do show a variety of things from lifestyle to homes to, I'll show things with my family once in a while. I do have a 14-year-old now who she does not want anything on social. She actually made me go back and delete things from like, years ago. So now I really need to get permission to post anything. So, and it's always like, Mom, you're not going to post this, are you? I mean, so I have to be careful with that. But I do as much as I can to get out there and be authentic. And like yesterday, I got a call from someone who said they wanted to see a house. And she said, I made an appointment with a listing agent. And then I figured, wait, what am I doing? I don't know them. So I called you, Cindy, but she doesn't know me either. But she feels like she knows me, which is amazing.
I always get thrown
Yes.
off when people say, I feel like I know you already, or how are your kids doing? And you're like, I don't know you. So I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Um, I think people want to connect. I think it's a generation that's seeking connection. And I think the relatability is being a little bit human with a little bit about what sets you into motion a bit and what you like. I mean, people now send us in staircases because I happen to think they're amazing and they're quirky and you can do anything with them. And they're so meaningful in many different levels of that statement. And it's become a thing. And so people now send them in. And I love it. So we're going to post one tomorrow from a designer who said, I thought of you, click. Or I walked this one. And I love it from all over the world. And then, the other is that for a long time, people thought of me in a certain way. And I was suggested to be a little bit more human and stop being like a machine and get relatable. And then I really let it happen. And, so it's a full option for people who are seeking to understand how they could do that or how they could work in that way or how do you do it all? And it's hardly perfect. But my point is it's a relatability and a connection thing. And I think the more relatable you are, the more impact you have in connecting.
So true.
Yeah, I think that's a really strong point. I'm curious about agents who are watching in mid-sized markets, not New York City, not Fairfield County. Does this playbook still translate directly? What maybe doesn't translate?
I think if you're trying to be too luxury in a market that doesn't service that, it's hard to relate. And then they feel they can't connect to it, and then they back away from it. And I think that's also part of what you sort of deal with as you grow a business. People don't actually believe that you're going to show up and do it for the mid-size or smaller price points. It's the same thing. It's this, you know, being humble about it. I'm here to do it. It's what I do for a living. Please don't buy into that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Cindy?
I totally agree with that. I think that, I mean, our brand is a luxury brand. We focus on selling luxury, but that doesn't mean that the house has to be a $10 million house. We can sell a luxury home at any price point. It's how it feels, how it looks. Um, and I agree with you. I mean, we're willing to do anything for anybody, and we want to be approachable. We don't want people to feel like they can't reach out. So I think that's part of being like real when you're online. They feel like they can reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Cindy, what's one of the biggest mistakes you see agents make when they're trying to build a public profile?
I think the biggest mistake is to not do it day in and day out. I've seen some really great videos by some of my colleagues, but they do like one or two, and then you kind of forget about them. And they're so good. They should just keep it up. And I think you just have to schedule it and or just batch do it or whatever will work for you and your schedule. But you've got to just at least make a commitment to put out, 3 things a week or something like that to start. I mean, we do every single day, but that might be too much for someone starting out. You just have to be consistent. Just pick one thing. Don't try to do YouTube and TikTok and Instagram all the same. Just pick one thing and start doing it.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice. How about you, Francis? What do you see? Where do you see agents kind of going wrong, maybe especially in the beginning when they're trying to get their footing in, going public on social or just across channels?
The consistency, and also the content. I think sometimes when in doubt, be you. And I think sometimes they're trying to create an image that is not necessarily who they are. And so it sort of feels a little bit hard to connect. It's too perfect or it's too sensational. You know, I'm like, woof, I'm intimidated, and so I think there's a disconnect about what perception of luxury looks like. I don't come from luxury. I'm self-made into that. And so I like the idea of being human to it. It's all price points. The problem is that you get hyped on certain, so people think you're a certain way, but as you put in that soundbite, you go into the small listings, they're like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you here? Are you really going to be here? So it's that kind of double-edged sword. So I think relatability, I think the newer agents, as Cindy said, I second it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be enough to give us insight. And it could be the day in the life. If you don't have a listing, talk about what you're seeing in the market. Just do something. Get related to what you're doing and share it. And I have
Amazing.
to
Yeah.
just say this, I'm not a big on screen. I hate it. I'm so insecure about it. If I can put as much music backdrop and do walking, I will do it. So don't feel like you have to talk and yap away.
Yeah. There's no one size fits all.
Nope.
Um, I'm curious, Francis, do you run your own accounts or do you have someone that helps you with your social?
Now I will admit I'm a little controlling about it because I'm really insecure about it. It's scary in a way. It's like woof, it's out there. Can't take it back. Well, you can, but not really. I have someone who runs my account. She's amazing. I met her as an intern from my daughter's school during COVID, and she was so damn good. I was like, girl, she's in college and she's doing it. She's amazing. She's absolutely amazing.
How about you, Cindy?
I definitely have a team that's helping me with all of our social, but I mean, the best content is the content that feels like it's coming from my voice. And so, I oversee everything. I mean, the schedule gets put together and we keep it really local and just very true to everything. Like, we're not going to post about a restaurant that there's no way I would go to, or I mean, it's just we keep it to exactly what I would like, and it's in my voice.
Yeah. Cindy, what would you say to an agent who maybe is concerned about investing into creating content or PR or their personal brand? How essential is it that they do so in 2026?
I mean, I think it's everything. I think you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in your business. I was a single agent for a really long time, and in 2020, my husband and I decided to really build a team around what I had already done. And it feels scary to start, investing a lot of money into a business. But I mean, we started with, website and then, started hiring assistants and everything else. But you've got to invest money, and the branding is so important now. I mean, you really need to do that because that's really the way the business is going.
Yeah, absolutely. And Francis, you seem to have created a whole ecosystem from your newsletter to your social to your TV appearances. Like, how have you come to think about putting all those pieces together? And I guess what has gone into making you like the true face of your market?
I don't even know how to respond to that because I don't look at myself that way. So when you ask this, I'm kind of like squirming. I'm like, I don't know how to answer that. Podcasts are cheap, so they were easy to do. And I was doing them before COVID because I wanted to differentiate how I was communicating behind the scenes. The newsletter started the day I started in brokerage, and it's been that way forever. And it has a really nice viewership, and it's been growing as we do it. We add all of our clients to it. They love it. It's a way to be in front of people. It's also a great way to get magazines to hear what you have to say and then want to expand on it, which we've had that quotes from that. But I think it's doing things. I'm passionate about what I do. I can't do it any other way. I don't relate to half bleeping it. I just do it. And so um, I think the TV came later. It wasn't like, okay. It was sort of like, do what you love, do it well, talk about the results so you can get more business. And through that growth, and by the way, it is a process. I think everybody wants to have instant gratification, much like what Instagram is. It's this voyeuristic, immediate hit. But actually, it takes so much time to build it. You have to spend money to make money, and you can't afford not to do it as a new agent. I genuinely believe if that means you eat tuna and rice and you don't go out for 3 nights, do it because it's that sets it up. It's not just your initials, brand. It's a voice. It's Are you a buyer's broker? Are you a seller's broker? Are you a downtown broker? Are you a co-op broker? What's your jam? What's your thing? And then ring fence it and own it. But it's really hard for people to commit to that. And I think that's part of the connection thing. When people feel like they get you, they watch you. It's as simple as that.
Amazing. Would love to finish on one question before we move on to some Q&A. There's a lot of great questions in the chat. Excited to get to those. But I'd love to ask you both, what is one thing an agent watching right now could do this week in order to start owning their market? Cindy, maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think in order to own your market, you've got to be an expert on the market you're representing. So it starts with knowing every house that's on, every house that's sold. And, it's also, I think the easy things would be like start to put out a monthly newsletter and don't just spit out numbers. Tell people what they really mean. What are we really seeing? And if I would do that and then make sure you've got your website. I mean, when you see somebody out there across multiple channels, you start to build, people start to recognize you and they have more confidence that you are representing, could represent them in a sale.
Amazing. How about you, Francis?
I think that you need to get related to what you're doing and then talk about it in a way that's specific to your personality. I had an agent with me for 8 years who was amazing at talking about Brooklyn and wanting to sit on stoops in Brooklyn and have his coffee. And that became his thing. And I just loved the way he made it his. And I think that's exactly as simple as that. He didn't have money, he didn't have much, but he had an idea. And it starts just with what speaks to you privately in yourself, and then having that courage to say that every day in your way. And it becomes your thing. And then that becomes part of your brand. You don't have to do it from the outside in, but actually from inside out,
Amazing. Thank you both so much. Let's get to a few questions from the chat. There's been a lot of chatter about the agencies you guys have hired to help with your social, with your PR, and the value that comes with that. This one's strictly for Cindy, I guess, but Francis, I'm sure you can add value here too. Cindy, you mentioned that the agency you hired for social really was a game changer for you. What are the top 3 things you'd say that they are doing that have helped you so much?
Well, number one is, I'm not an expert at social media, and I can't even try to be because everything changes so rapidly. So they know exactly what is trending. I mean, in the past 6 months alone, I feel like carousels were trending, then it was back to reels, and now it's back to carousels. I mean, I don't know how we would all know that. So I think that's important. I think the other thing that's important is when they take a piece of content and then they make it, they optimize it for different platforms. Like LinkedIn should be more professional and business-like. I mean, obviously, you're not going to put everything on every channel, but they optimize our content for each of the channels appropriately. And I think they just keep us, we're paying them a lot of money. We're accountable. We're going to get the content done. It's like, I can't say like, oh, I don't feel like doing that today because I owe them content and we've got to get it done.
Amazing. This one's a good one from Francis. New York City is clearly a very saturated market. How are you really differentiating yourself in that kind of saturated market of NYC?
Results. That's
Love
it. It's what you do. It's not what you say. And it's not how you pretend to be. It's results. Show me. But when you show it, that's it. Drop the mic. That's it.
Love
it. That's powerful. How about you, Cindy?
I mean, same. I wish I said it first. Results. Honestly, it's amazing what we're seeing now is our brand is elevating prices of these homes that we're selling. Like we market it a certain way and we are getting better results than anybody else. So it's crazy. I'm very proud of it.
You should be. It's awesome.
Absolutely. There's a question about podcasts here. Francis, I know you've been running a very successful podcast for some time here. Do you have any advice on how to get kind of notice and start getting guests to join your show?
It's funny. People always go, when are you going to do the next one? It's sort of like where I'm at in my life right now. I won't compromise on quality. So I'm not doing it unless it's really cool people that I'm into. And I think it's really important to decide how you want it to be. I wanted it to be with people that I looked up to, I was inspired by, and it's really hard because when you start, no one's like, who? What? You're not the real deal. So it took time. And I think when you hit up the people that you want to hit up that are in your mind, wow, they look at who's been on the show. And then they're like, okay, if that person did it, okay. So it builds upon itself. It's free. It's basically cheap. I mean, at the time that I did it, it was like $100 or $200 for the studio for the hour, and you shot your stuff. But it wasn't until it became digital. And then I was like, oh my God, I've actually got to be on screen. Oh my God, pull that thing back to Canada. Oh no. So it becomes a thing. I try not to look too much. It's really effective if you want to be seen as an authority and you don't have the support of the editorial sides yet. It's a great way for you to have an opinion and a view. It makes you look legit when you're just starting out. You're faking it till you make it. That's the game. Somebody had in the chat that I'm in Colombia, that I was at Florida. How do I do my market? It's the same methodology. Where do you want to trade? What's your price points that you want to reach? Then you have to create a mailer introducing yourself and then start creating something that people plug into there. I don't know the Colombian market. Do they like podcasts? Do they like flyers? Do they like digital campaigns on a certain browser? I don't know. But
That was very helpful. We'll end on one final question. Cindy, I think this is a great one for you. Do you believe in building a clearly defined niche and dominating it, or is there ever a case for being a bit more general in your approach?
We definitely have a niche and it's luxury. Uh, and I think that if you're building a brand, I think it's really important that you know what you're going after and focus on it. I can't say that that would be the right approach for everybody. I think if you're just starting out, I think you should just really get to know your market and become an expert and then figure out what you're really good at. Or, if you decide you want to work with, older people, younger people, whatever it is that you love, that's what you'll end up doing more of.
Absolutely. Well, Cindy and Francis, thank you both so much for joining today. This was an incredible session. Really appreciate all of your insights as always. And for those watching, thank you so much for joining in, engaging in the chat. Really appreciate you guys as well. We'll end it here. Have a fantastic rest of your week, everyone.
thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Of course, lucky to have you both. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.